Welcome, 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 everyone. So, we are doing another multicultural and diversity project presentation, and this is in association with Yes Employment. This is in regards to, as you can see on the screen over there, a job fair for skilled tradespeople. I'm not sure many of you are aware of the current crisis that's affecting vocational schools. This is in regard to Bill 101 and Bill 96. Now, this is not a political event, so I'm not going to go deep into it. But what I will say is for those currently enrolled in vocational schools, well done. This situation might be a little bit more difficult over the coming years because if the law goes into effect, it'll affect first and foremost the Anglophone population and the immigrant population. Because as most of you very well know, if your parents did not go to school in English here in Quebec, then your child will not be able to go to school in English here in Quebec. As for new immigrants that are Anglophone or allophone, you will not be able to now attend vocational schools in English. I personally myself foresee a mass exodus as we had many years ago. And a lot of educators, teachers, principals, officials may lose their jobs. That is the reality. Now, I know the weather has put a damper on this event today, but the truth of the matter is it's hard to give people information. And we can't force it upon them. We can only give people what they want. And this event is really to put out the information and let people know and understand that there is actually a crisis that is happening with our vocational schools and just language on a whole. So I'm happy for the ones that turned out and are participating today to get the information out there. Because like I said, it's very important, and it's sad to see that even schools that could have participated maybe didn't participate, but people understand the crisis. So why not choose to get the knowledge out there to protect your own self? Why not choose to acquire knowledge to empower yourself? These are the challenges that we face, not only with language, but with education and with schooling. We want to give the knowledge, but how do we get people to accept the fact that the knowledge exists and that you need it? Today we have a couple of gentlemen that are going to give testimonials to talk about their journey in vocational schools. And we have officials here today representing some vocational schools that various courses are given in, right? There's a battle going on in the back there as far as who's going to represent and speak on behalf of the school. The secret is I'm going to call them both up, but we'll see what happens with that. Look, we have a good online presence. I appreciate those in attendance. And as far as the testimonials that I mentioned, we're going to start with a special guest. And just to give you a little background on how I met this guest, it was really by chance. He just happened to be doing plumbing work at a residence near to where I lived. And I kept seeing this gentleman every day, and I'm like, what is he doing in there? And I just went up to him and asked him, sir, tell me what you're doing. And he indulged, and we had a conversation, and he told me he was a plumber, and he was a plumber for so many years, and this and that. And he was like, you know, it would be great to have an apprentice, someone that I could take under my wing, the tutelage, and just give them the knowledge. But he told me he couldn't find anyone. And I thought that was disheartening, but unbelievable at the same time. And I said to him, one day I'm going to find you somebody. And this was about 3-4 years ago. And now we've come full circle where I just happened to be doing this event. I saved his number in my phone, searched him up, didn't know if I'd still have the same number, sent him a text, and he responded. And he's here today to speak on his journey into vocational studies. Christopher, welcome Christopher, everyone.
Yeah. Yes.
There you go. I think they can hear you very well.
Hello, hello. Yeah.
Okay, you can So first of all, we'll start with your name. Can you please introduce yourself to the people and tell them what your profession is?
My name is Christopher Manby. I'm a plumber and been a plumber basically all my adult life.
Okay. You can look at the crowd. You don't have to stare at me. You're making me uncomfortable, Christopher. I don't know. You're staring at me in a way that I don't know. Okay?
Okay.
All right. When you say adult life, tell them how many years you've been in the profession.
I learned plumbing when I was 18. I started at school, and I've worked in plumbing. I would say basically from that time to now. I'm now in my 60s, I'd say.
Wow. So you're saying you've been doing plumbing 35 years plus,
Well, 40 some years.
40 years.
Yeah. I'm 64, so it's like 42 years.
You see, this is the key of going to school and getting an education. You can do the math. I couldn't do the math. Right? So tell us why you chose plumbing. Were there other options, other interests that you had before?
Well, I got into plumbing, I would say, through my family. And my mother didn't want me to be on the street, as she says. You got to learn a trade. And I wanted to be a machinist, a millwright, a tool maker, and die maker. But when I went to school, that trade was closed, was full. So I had plumbing, welding, masonry and stuff, and I chose plumbing.
Okay, let's back it up a little bit because you said something that was very interesting. You said your mother said to you, you got to get off the streets.
Well,
You gotta do something. Was this here in Montreal? Because I detect an accent similar to my own accent. You emigrated from.
I'm from Jamaica. At 18 years old, you know, this is when you could get into gangs or political violence. I'm from you have to say, the ghetto of Kingston, Jamaica, inner city. And this was a violent period of election time was coming up. And she didn't want me to be not doing anything, so that's how she made sure that
So you started your plumbing journey in Jamaica?
in Jamaica, yeah. I work in Jamaica, I learned plumbing in Jamaica, and I worked in Jamaica for 9 years as a plumber before migrating to Canada.
Okay. And this is what we were addressing earlier and what I was speaking on, being an immigrant and coming to Quebec and then pursuing vocational studies. So when you arrived now in Quebec, what transpired at that point in terms of the knowledge that you had previous in Jamaica, and how did you get to blend the two? What was that process like?
That was a quite difficult process to go from Jamaica to here, because when I came, I got a card from the government, from the CCQ, but this was a out of construction card where I could go and repair a faucet for someone or do, you know, little jobs, and I didn't really want that. So I ended up having to go back to. I went to the Partney Adult Education Center here.
Does that place still exist? Does anybody know about?
It still exists, yeah. Yeah.
Hold on. Let's hear from Nadia hiding in the back here. Okay.
It does.
I believe it still exists.
Yes.
Okay, so your journey to Partney, you said?
Yes. This is yeah. I went there for not for the whole plumbing course, but I had to do the heating part of the course, and I had to prove to them that I was a plumber. And because I'm coming from Jamaica, they believe actually that plumbing doesn't exist in Jamaica. So I had to prove to them that there was plumbing and plumbers. And then so I went to the school. I did the heating part of the course because we don't do heating in Jamaica, and then I got.
Can you imagine? Are you listening to what Christopher is saying? He's saying they didn't believe that there's any heat in Jamaica.
There's no plumbing. They believe there's
No
no
plumbing.
Yeah.
No plumbing.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
go ahead.
Yeah, because when I came here initially, I had a card given to me by CCQ, but no one would hire me because the first question was, where did you work? Who do you work for? I never work in Canada. You never work in Canada. How do you know about plumbing? So those were the questions. How do you know about plumbing? Well, we can't hire you. You need Canadian experience. There was one company, I will not name the company, But
Name the company. We all want to know.
no, we're not gonna come. So the person told me, he says, okay, he asked me questions about what I know, what you can do, so and so, and he says, I'll start you off on this job on this day. This was a long time ago, and he
Was
says,
this in
"Meet
the
me-"
70s, you'd say?
No,
80s?
this was 80s.
80s.
No, this was the 90s.
90s. Not
So
too
he
long.
said to me, early 90s, he says, meet me at the Cary and Coast St. Luke. I'm going to start you off at this job site. I pick you up there in the morning and we go. I waited for the guy. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, I went back home. 'Cause this was in the winter time. And I called the same number, the same person, I would say, for about 3 weeks. I called that number after that event, and the person even answered the phone. I know it's the same guy because I know his voice. And he said, no, it's not me. I don't know about this. And that was it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you about the schooling. Was there a cost to school? Because we want to do the comparison between then and now and see how these programs have changed. Was there a cost, or was it financed by some program? Like, what was registration like back then?
I don't remember the cost, if there was registration, but if there was, it was a small amount. It wasn't anything that, I don't believe there was any, actually, I don't remember. But I know you had to register, and you had to do a little, I'm not gonna say a dexterity test, but something to show that you had skills to work in the trades. So, I mean, I was in the trade before, so I'm very familiar. I did the test. They admitted me. I did what I had to do, and then I left. I only stayed at the school for maybe, I would say, 4 months. And it wasn't 4 months, I think 5 months, but it wasn't consecutive. It was, I went when I was supposed to go, and then I would not go. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when you graduated and what that was like?
Yeah, it was, I left in 1990. I think it
Okay.
was.
Did you have to find a stage, or did
No,
they
no,
provide
because I worked for a company before. I was working while I was at the school. Yeah. So I just continue working.
Okay. During the time that you were in school, did you find there's other people that were from similar backgrounds or new immigrants also during that time? What was
Yeah.
the school population like?
Well, first of all, the school was in English, which was a class of immigrants and a few, I would say, English-speaking Quebecers. So let's say there were 50, close to 20 people or 15 to 20 people. We were more than 10 that was immigrants. Like I was from Jamaica. There was a guy from South Africa, Trinidad, 2 or 3 Indians. There were 4 Russians. So it was a mixed bag of people like that. Yeah.
Large immigrant population.
Yeah, there was more. It was 85% immigrants.
So upon graduation, you mentioned that you already had a job.
Yeah.
So during that time, as a plumber, what was the job field like? Because now we know that there's courses that give plumbing, vocational schools that give plumbing, but for some, there's like a 2-year wait. Was it also difficult back then to get into plumbing?
Okay. Yes, it was difficult back then, but not like now. The wait was, I would say, a few months, and my experience was the vocational training was not very well advertised. Like at the high school level, there was not much. There was no one. In Jamaica, we had let's say job fairs, or people would go from the vocational schools to the high schools and say, we offer this, that after. But not here, because I don't know of anyone who ever say, there is job fairs, but the job fair is different. They mainly look at like clerical work, or everybody wanted to be, at that time in the early 90s, late 80s, everybody wanted to be a computer technician. Nobody wanted to be a tradesperson. So there wasn't much interest. So this is where I believe in high schools is where you need to go to say, introduce people to trades, to be a trade. In my family and my surroundings, I've been trying to get someone to learn this trade from the time, I would say, for 40 years. Yeah.
What do you think the issue is? What are the challenges? Because working with vocational schools, we find it very difficult to get out the information. As you can see, we're doing our job here today also. And just getting the information out has its challenges. You mentioned your family, even within your immediate family, it's been hard to get people to. So, what do you think the issues are?
Okay. There's a lot of misconceptions, and there's some things that, okay, it's plumbing or trades is manual work. And manual work means you have to work hard, you have to sweat, you have to move. For some people, they're looking at it and say, well, you know, I don't want to do that. There's some families who would say, like fathers would say, I don't want my child to work as hard as I did. And stuff like this, it makes it not as attractive to a young person coming up. But if you're coming up and you want to do a trade, people say, plumber, you're gonna be dirty. You know, it's being dirty doesn't mean that it's a bad trade. No.
So, your journey into plumbing now, obviously you're somebody that was willing to work hard. However, tell us what were some of the setbacks that you had, some of the, how could I say, not so positive times, because I'm sure it wasn't all good times during your journey into plumbing.
It definitely was not. The hardest time I had in plumbing was, I would say, moving here. In Jamaica, it was a little different. When I finished the course in Jamaica, the teacher, he got me a job. So I left school, let's say, on the Friday, and I started working on the Monday. When I came here, it became a little bit of a challenge because of the language and the different rules. But by and large, it's been a good experience for me because I am a very adaptable person. I adapt easily to situations. So it was not a challenge for me that much.
Okay. So, plumbing has evolved, right? Talk about some of the evolutions that have happened in terms of the tools. I think you mentioned to me earlier that there's battery operated type stuff now. How has plumbing evolved from back then till now? Just to give people an example of what the field is like.
Well, I'll go a little further back because like now the vocational training are the schools. The government is giving incentives to the students now to graduate and to work in the trade. But I'm sure like some people, they're not even aware of this, but it's something that is true and it's real. That is to start. To go to a company before, if you had to buy your own tools, now you have to provide yourself with hand tools. The companies provide the tools for you now. Where before, everything was manual. Now, there is a battery-operated tool for anything you want to do. Anything. Even Mr. Electrician is over there. He can tell you they have pulleys that can pull the wire out. They can pull your fish. So we have the same thing. We have machines to do almost anything you want to do or you have to do. There are some things like, that you have, if your toilet is blocked and you need to unblock it, you still have to do it. But if you have a blockage in like a line, the machines you have to do it now, they're battery operated and they're better than what they were before. The tools are better, the materials are different. And where before we had, let's say, maybe 10 different types of materials. Now you have 50. So you can choose between one or the next. Where we had limitations in how we do the connecting the pipe together, now there's a million different ways. There is welding, soldering of any kind of pipe, plastic or otherwise. There is a lot of now, instead of threading, we crimp. So where it would take you need a machine to thread the pipe and whatever. This will take you maybe 15, 20 minutes to do one. Now you can do a whole line in 20 minutes. You could do 200 feet of pipe in 20 minutes. So it's much different. It's easier in that sense now. It's a little more challenging too, where there's more rules, but it's not as manual.
Okay, and you mentioned that you're employed to a specific company. Speak a little bit about that company and give them a little bit of highlight in terms of their hiring practices and how it's been for you working there.
Okay. The company I work for, I would say, is I really appreciate that company in that there's some company I find, this is my experience I'm saying, is they are, I'm not gonna say they're afraid of immigrants, but they're not sure what a person, an immigrant will bring to their company. The company I work for, they're happy for what an immigrant bring to the company. Yes, like in my case, again, coming from Jamaica, I have maybe a little different way of doing something or a different attitude towards doing something. Some people don't like that. This company embraces that. And by embracing that, they, they have a few immigrants that work for them and work for them for a long time, just like myself.
Okay. Now the good part. Talk about the financial benefits of being a plumber that some people don't understand. I mean, I only call a plumber when there's an emergency. Like pipes backed up, toilets backed up. These are when I'm calling a plumber, right? And every time I call, for some reason, it just happens to be on a weekend. And then when it's on the weekend, they're trying to tell me $150 an hour. I'm like, $150 an hour? Right? Now, I don't see any Rolexes on you or anything like that, Christopher, but I know you have it. We know Christopher has it, right?
Right.
Okay, so benefits of working in plumbing. In trades in particular, the starting salary is better than most of the little jobs or the odd jobs, being like a waiter. I'm sure you make more money doing a trade than you do as a waiter, depending on where you work and how you work. And all of these kind of small jobs, a lot of clerical work, a lot of warehousing and stuff like this, you'll be better off doing a trade. But it's not for everyone, because trade work come with challenges. Challenges is that your day start earlier, the job is maybe a little further, you change location all the time, and some people are not, they rather go every Monday to same address. In that way, it's a bit different. It's not for everyone.
What is the starting salary for an apprentice?
I'm not sure 100%, but I know it's more than $22 an hour. Or somewhere about there. 22, 23 bucks an hour.
And on a yearly basis, this increases?
There's an increase every year. I'm not sure of the percentage, but I'm sure it's 15, 20% or more.
Okay.
I'm not sure, yeah.
And what about this overtime that I keep hearing about that you guys charge?
Overtime is in anything. There is different stages of overtime. You have regular overtime, it's time and a half, or you have double time. So if you imagine, you could be working $40 an hour, more than 40 as a starting salary if you are as an apprentice.
How about private practice as opposed to working for a company?
Private practice is very good for people, but you have to be motivated and hardworking. When you go private, you need to be able to work anytime. I did it myself for a while, and I know it's you supper's on the table, and the wife called to say, let's eat. The phone rings, you pick up the phone, something happened, and you have to go. It's private is a bit tough, but it's good. It's lucrative.
Okay. And you said you're close to retirement. So what are your plans for the immediate future? Would you yourself want to take on an apprentice? Would you think of taking on an apprentice?
Well, no, not for me right now, no, because I'm semi-retired and I'm only working a few months per year or so. So it would be hard for someone to be my apprentice.
What advice would you have for someone wanting to become a plumber? Somebody young, contemplating between machinist, as you said, plumbing.
Yeah.
What advice would you give?
I would say, if you want to be a plumber, this is the time to be in the trades, because of all the innovations and all the new stuff that you can learn, there's many things you can do, and you can always branch off into whatever else you want. The pay is decent. you'll always have work, and you'll always have work in demand. Even in the time when things are a little bit slow, of course, there is always dips in whatever it is. But if you're good enough and you're hardworking, dedicated, willing to learn, adaptable, you have it made. That's all you need.
Any questions for Christopher? Any questions for Christopher? How about my vocational school representatives? Do any of you have plumbing at any of your institutions? Rosemount, any plumbing? Novo, any plumbing? Okay. So, Christopher, all I want to say is I wish you the best in your retirement.
I thank you much.
I thank you for coming through. And hopefully you change your mind on that apprenticeship. I'm sure there's somebody that you can give your wealth of knowledge to.
Yeah.
So please, everyone. Christopher.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Christopher, everyone. So next up, I have a good friend of mine, actually, who happens to be an electrician. And that's also a very interesting story. Because at one point in life when we were young, I thought he was going to be an NHL goaltender because that's all he ever talked about. Still thinks he's the best to this day, wants to give Dobesh advice, and this one shouldn't do that, and this one shouldn't do this. Doesn't even recognize the forwards or the defensemen. It's all about the goalies for this guy. But, yeah, actually, we did play on the same youth hockey team together, and I've known him that long. And if I needed an electrician, I would call this guy. Just knowing how hard he works, he's actually taught me a lot when it comes to work ethic, right? And I will say I'm very proud of this gentleman. Because, again, he has a similar journey to Christopher, where going through, I guess, the system of regular schooling may not have been for him, but finding his niche, I think it changed his life. But who better to hear it from than the man himself? Steve Podemianis, everybody, please. Steve, come on up. Come on up, Steve. He's walking a little gingerly because he was at the gym this morning, so he's kind of sore, he says. But he's in very good shape, very good shape.
Oh, boy.
Okay, make yourself comfortable. Let's try to get this mic up there.
I won't look at you.
Oh, please, Steve, don't. Look over there. So, Steve, please state your first and last name and your profession, please.
My name is Steven Potamianos. I'm an electrician.
So, let's start from the early beginnings, okay? Like I said to the folks here, I've known you since elementary school. Back then, you probably did not know you were going to be an electrician. So, when did you discover that you wanted to be an electrician?
Well, let's see. Probably after high school. Going through high school and realizing that high school wasn't really interesting, enough to continue forward. I thought that I was best suited for something else. I had a lot of energy and I wanted to work, so that's what I ended up starting. I started right after high school, actually, yeah.
So it's similar to what Christopher is saying. You have to have the work ethic, you have to have the energy to put into it, right? So right after high school, you knew, look, I have this energy, I want to put it towards something. Was there something else that you thought about? Like, what grabbed you? Was it a mentor? Was it somebody that pulled you into the profession? What exactly was it?
Well, I think what grabbed me into it is I had some uncle that was in the trade himself, and the respect back in those years that he got from doing what he did, and the fact that he could put things together and be proud of what he's put together and be proud of his workmanship. I think that was that was something that I wanted to attain as well.
Okay. How did you do the research in terms of finding the school that you wanted to go to?
Well, let's see. I think my mom realized about the same time that I did after high school that
Greek mothers,
that
just
I
so you
wasn't
know, very
going
strict.
That I wasn't going to excel in school. That I had I was inclined more for the trades. So she did the research actually, and I agreed with her. So she found that I think it was LaSalle High at the time, Protestant. They had programs in the DEP. So I enrolled myself and went on to go to school there for about a year and a half.
Let's pivot a little bit, Steve, because you mentioned something that's very important. Because I myself went back to school as an adult to get my degree, and I needed a lot of support when I did it. So you mentioned your mother. Talk about the support that you had to get into school and stay focused, and that got you to the end, because I'm sure it wasn't easy.
Well, I think any parent who has their kid that is, perhaps struggling a little bit in school, and just because they struggle in school doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to shift into something else. And I think my mom was pretty attentive to that, and she supported me through it, because starting in the trades for somebody that's you're a young adult, and you're entering a man's workforce, it can be a little bit exhausting, intimidating, and I think my mom was pretty good in support for that.
Okay. So you mentioned LaSalle Tech. LaSalle Tech?
It was LaSalle High School at the time, Protestant.
Protestant. Okay, is anybody here familiar with LaSalle? Okay, so is it still in existence? Does anybody know if it's still in existence? Nobody knows? Do you know?
LaSalle Catholic?
No.
LCCHS?
Not sure what the designation is now, but it's in LaSalle.
Hold on a second. Nadia is speaking, folks. Nadia is speaking.
Electricity at PEC now, Pearson Electricity Career Center. So adults, yeah, it's not PAC, it's PEC. PAC is the adult center, and PEC is the vocational. They have plumbing and they have electricity there. So it's no longer not high school.
So times have changed since you went to school, Steve. So they're trying to say that you're a dinosaur. I didn't say it, they did. It's Nadia over there. Nadia and her crony. Okay, so Steve, tell us what that was like, though, while you were there. What was the environment like? Did you find that you were the only Greek guy there? Or what was the student population like while you were in school over there at LaSalle?
This is going back into the early 90s, I believe it was, maybe a little earlier. And the population in my classroom, out of perhaps, let's say, 25 students, I think there was at least 13 or 14 of us that were Greek, actually. And some Jamaican guys that were in there, and mostly ethnic people.
And do you remember how long the course was?
It was a year and a half at the time.
Okay. Do you remember if there was a stage at the end, or did you have to find your own stage, or how did that work?
When I got in, the stages were no longer, they weren't doing stages at that time. They were doing it prior to, but when I got in, they didn't have any stages anymore. So actually the 90s were very tough years to work in construction. So they were, they had stopped doing stages, from what I can remember.
So, how did you enter the workforce after you graduated with honors?
I entered the workforce actually by chance. I was working I was working in the movie theaters as an usher for Cineplex Odeon, and I started to watch the guys who started to come in there and do electrical work, and I pretty much kept haggling them and asking them and telling them, you know, I'd like to do this. This is what I like to do, and this is what I studied for. And after a long battle, actually, they actually hired me and gave me a chance.
And what was that first experience like for you, knowing that you graduated, you're trying to get in your, 'cause you got to put in a certain amount of hours as an electrician, I think, right?
To become a compagnon or a licensee, you have to put in 8,000 hours.
Okay, that's a long way from the one when you start, right?
It
So
is a
were you
long way.
discouraged at any point in time? What was that journey like now that you have your first job?
I'm not so sure what did you mean, sorry?
When you start that first job and you're putting in those first few hours and you know you got 8,000 to go, did you get discouraged at any point in time, or were you just happy to be like, yes, I finally got my first job, I can apply my trade?
I was excited to start and to give a chance to prove myself. It is long, but you know the first years are, you actually don't even think about the hours anymore. You know, it just, once you get settled in, it becomes day to day, and it becomes part of you. You know.
So speak on what employment is like for an electrician. Do you find that there's a lot of work, too much work, or not enough work? Because people entering the field, they want to know that they're going to be employed at all times.
Well, at the moment, there's a lot of work, from what I can see. The 90s were very, very slow, and I'm hoping it's going to remain like this. You know, that there's going to be a lot of work, but the truth is once the cranes start going down, I don't know if there's going to be as much work as there is right now. But the last 15, 20 years have been very, very good.
You said once the what starts going down?
The construction cranes, once they start disappearing,
Explain to people online and the people that are here what that means, because people may not understand what it
Well,
means.
there's a lot of construction going on right now, and there's a high demand for tradespeople, and there is a lot of people out there, but the problem that we're having in where I work is that a lot of people are doing it for the money, and they're not doing it because they like the job, you know. And when I find that when the construction starts to slow down, there's going to be a little bit of a weeding out process.
That's interesting that you say that, because earlier I was talking about, language and Bill 101 and this and that. Now, again, we're not trying to make it political, but in terms of that field, even though you say there's a high demand, the workforce, when you're on site, what is the demographic that the workforce is usually made up of? Just so people have an idea.
I would say it's primarily French Canadian, and there's about maybe a 30 to 40% ethnic group, but primarily the large number are French Canadian.
Can you tell us a little bit about the highs and lows that you've experienced as an electrician?
The highs and lows. Sometimes we would come into periods where it would be a little bit slower, and mind you, the last 20 years have been very, very good. But before that, there were slower periods where we would have to set back our hours a little bit. Not a lot of people are crazy about doing less hours when the work gets slower.
Okay. If you had to do it over again, would being an electrician still be your number one choice?
I've always had a passion for doing what I do, so probably, yeah.
When you were younger and you discovered that this was the field that you were going into, can you just describe what that crossroads was like, knowing that you weren't the straight A student and your mother was there to support you and help you go into LaSalle Tech, I believe it was, to become an electrician? How did becoming an electrician change your life?
It's, I think, in all trades, it just, there's a form of discipline that a trade provides that a lot of jobs can't really provide. The discipline of waking up at early hours, the discipline of accomplishing your a certain amount of work in a certain amount of time. That's it's quite disciplined. If discipline is what you're looking for, the trades is a very good place to be.
And again, just like with Christopher, let's talk about the good stuff. Now, again, I know you're hiding your Rolex under that sleeve. You pulled it down. I seen you, Steve. So let's just talk a little bit about the financial aspect of how much you get paid as an apprentice when you start, until where you are now, Steve, 40 years later, making the millions, the big bucks. What's it like for a new guy?
I think you have to walk before you run. I think it's important to mention that. And as you slowly acquire your skills, so does your knowledge. And if you're entrepreneurial, if you have it in you, I mean, there's nothing that can hold you back.
So this is something that you would advise the field of becoming an electrician. You'd recommend it to anyone.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. What does it take? Christopher was talking about, look, you got to be a hard worker. Got to have that energy. You've been doing it for a while. You've seen guys come and go.
A lot.
Separate the failures from the success stories. What does it take?
It takes discipline. It takes hard work. It takes just showing up every day and accomplishing tasks. It's not easy, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
So let me ask you this. Would you be willing to take on an apprentice, show someone the ropes at this stage in your career? Is it something that you thought of, maybe private practice, or you just want to continue working for a company you don't want to be bothered with? Which one?
I deal with a lot of apprentices on a daily basis, and would I like to? No, I think I've done my time. I've put in the hours. Would I like to take on an apprentice? I've taken on many apprentices that have. Some of them are entrepreneurs now, and some of them are foremen, and some of them have done very well. But I think 60,000 hours later, I think I've pretty much done my time.
All right. Yes, Steve, I agree. It shows on you the 60 hours. I can't say. His nickname is Pot, by the way, and it's for the pot belly. No, I'm kidding. It's just for the pot timianas. It's shortened. We shortened it. Steve, you look great. You know I'm just messing with you. Any questions for Steve? Any questions? Some of the young guys over there, electricians in the house.
Do you see many women going into that profession in the year 2026?
I've actually had quite a few women as apprentices, and our company actually has a couple that are actually foremen. There is still a few. I would say it's out of maybe 30. There's perhaps 2 out of 30, But there are women in our field, yes, there are.
But still, pretty much a male-dominated field,
Yes, absolutely.
you would say. But you yourself would obviously like to see more women involved in the trades and
Of course,
so
I
forth.
think it would add a different dynamic to the job, of course.
I'll second that too. It's the same thing in plumbing. You have quite a few women who are entering now, but before there were very few. And you have some that are tradesmen now, or supervisor and contramite, but there's a lot coming in now.
The women bring an aspect to the job that men probably can't bring. They're a lot more. They're a lot more focused. They pay attention to more detail. They're more
We have Nadia over here, Steve, that wants to talk again. She doesn't talk much, but we're going to get her women in the field. Nadia, what do you think about women in the field of plumbing?
It's great. Of any field, it's great. I know that in our electromechanics program, the teachers actually tell us that the women are the best students. So they love it when they have a girl in the classroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they retain a lot of knowledge more than men do. They're just overall on the thinking aspect of any trade, they're functioning at a higher level.
Fantastic. Steve, I don't know, do you have any last words in terms of what you want to tell people that are looking to get into the trades, knowing what's the climate is now with the vocational schools, as we discussed earlier, in terms of Bill 101? Is there anything that you want to see change in the electrical field, being an electrician? You want to see any changes? We're evolving constantly. Maybe there's something that could be improved.
I think it's improved quite a bit. The jobs are much faster than they used to be. The deadlines are much tighter, which causes a lot of stress on a lot of people. I think it should actually scale back a little bit and become a little bit slower, because with the deadlines and the work being crammed into such a short period of time, I think there's a potential for a lot more work accidents, to be honest with you.
Okay. Is that something that you've seen on site where there's
Oh,
been
absolutely.
accidents?
Yes, absolutely.
Talk about that. What is it like when an accident occurs in terms of, the compensation? And there's another thing I want to touch on too. We know that there's a lot of under the table workers, right? So if you could even go into that too, in terms of guys that are on site, that are registered, as opposed to those that are not registered, and what are the benefits of being registered as opposed to not being registered?
Well, the benefits of being registered is you'd be registered with the CCQ, la Commission de la Construction de Québec, and your hours are registered, which means they're guaranteed for your pension and for your vacation pays. That's right, and also for your health insurance. So the more hours you log in as on-site, declared in CCQ, as opposed to people who are being paid cash, which doesn't exist very much anymore in the commercial sector. In the commercial sector, the more hours you register in there, the higher pension you will get when you get older.
You mentioned commercial. So in comparison to residential, when jobs are being offered, they're being bid on, or is there complications with that as opposed to somebody who's registered and somebody who's just, they're getting that money under the table, they tend to undercut prices? Is this a practice that's prevalent in, that business of being an electrician also?
Yeah, but it comes with a lot of issues. You don't want to hire people who are not registered, who don't have the proper competencies, because that comes with usually comes with a lot of shady type of work. That's why being unionized and working through the CCQ is something that's it guarantees a certain level of competency, I believe.
Okay. And what about for the homeowner, right? I'm sure you've seen situations where you yourself had to go in and fix jobs where somebody that probably wasn't registered did the job for less than what you would have charged, but now they have to pay triple to have you come in. You've seen situations like this too, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
I've seen quite a few like that. A lot of people hire people to do what they call a one-stop shop, and they do everything. And those are the type of people you don't want working in your house, because there's a lot of times where they do let's see, Mike Holmes made a living off stuff like that, you know. A lot of stuff that Mike Holmes ended up doing in his programs is from jobs that were like that. It's not the type of stuff that you want to get into. I think it's important to hire competent people, because in everything, in plumbing, in electrical, in everything, these are the type of people you want working for you and in your home, actually.
So again, you'd say there's a benefit to attending a vocational school and getting proper accreditation.
Absolutely, absolutely, because you will end up being a unionized worker, and there, like I said again, a unionized worker is there's a certain competency that comes with that can't be taught anywhere else.
Okay. So again, getting a degree, proper accreditation, what are the benefits? For those who did not hear, can you just tell us what are the benefits for having proper accreditation, so those who are currently working under the table may switch it up and decide to go to one of our great vocational schools that are being represented today?
I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of guys or women, they don't end up going through the proper accreditation is schedules. I mean, a lot of people don't want to work on a fixed schedule. I think it has a lot to do with discipline and schedules. You know, a lot of people, or they like to work perhaps 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then not, you know, take some time off. I mean, there's work in construction. It's disciplined work. It's day in, day out work, and there's a payoff that's been put in place, as opposed to your hourly wage, your pension, that cannot compare to somebody who's not formed the right way.
Okay. So again, do's and don'ts for someone who's an electrician. I'm sure you've been in situations where you said to yourself, maybe I should have did that differently, or I undercharged that one. Maybe I should have charged a little more. Maybe. What are the do's and don'ts?
I think definitely when you do the job, you should do it in the best of your ability the first time, and do it as best you can. And don'ts, I don't know, don'ts, I don't have too many don'ts, to be honest with you. I mean, just take pride in what you do. I think that in everything that you do in life, I think you should take pride in what you do. I think if you do, it shows, and other people will see it.
Fantastic. Steve, again, I would say I'm wishing you all the best, or I'd wish you all the best, but I know you are the best. So if you're in need of an electrician, Steve Patamianis, everyone. Thanks, Steve. This is Nanjiba, my marketing specialist, everyone, in case you didn't know.
Hi, this is a reminder for all the attendees. I have sent out an email under social media tmdp@gmail.com. There is a participant form that I would really like for you to complete. And later on, later tonight, maybe I'll send out the feedback form. So that would be great if you guys could just take your time and do it. Yep, that's it.
Okay, so as Nanjiba said, I mean, she wants you guys to fill out a couple of forms. So we're going to take a 5-minute break just to organize all of that. And then after that, we're going to have our vocational schools present. Now that we have Emma in the house, along with Nadia and my guy Carmine over here. So we're going to have them all present. And Danny. So we'll just take a 5-minute break. And as Nanjiba said, please, the QR code, once it's up, just scan it. And we'll continue. So 5 minutes. Listen, refreshments, everything is free. Grab a drink. My lovely daughter is over here ready to serve all of you. And food is on the way. So please, drink up, eat up.
Closer than it seems to be. I don't hold on.
All right, everyone, we're going to start again in about 3 minutes. So I'm just going to ask everyone to take their seats as how they were seated before. The food is on the way. So we're going to get started in about 3 minutes so the different vocational schools can present themselves. 3 minutes. Not after today. Yes. Gonna bring you both. Have a seat next to Steve. You guys are buddies now. Have a seat. I'm gonna call you up in a second. You can talk to him after Christmas. Sit down over. Sit next to him. Sit next to him. Carmine's gonna get up in a second. Carmine, sit over here, bro. Carmine. No, Carmine. Chris. Sit there. Sit next to the brother. Carmine, come over here. I'm gonna call you up in a second anyway. Okay. Okay, so when I call you up, you're gonna sit there, and then we're gonna go. Okay. Check. All right, folks. Listen, give it up for Steve and Christopher for those 2 testimonials. Weren't they excellent? Excellent. You know what? They both come over to me after and they're like, so what do you think? It wasn't good, huh? They need encouragement. Steve, it was great. Chris, it was great. You know, I learned stuff about this guy that I didn't say that again. Thank you very much. I'll take that as a credit to me. But yes, moving forward, guys, we do have some vocational schools in the house, and I'm happy to have them here because they understand the seriousness of the crisis that we're facing. So, again, Emma, Nadia, Carmine, and the one that should remain nameless until later. I appreciate you all being here because it shows initiative, it shows diligence, it shows drive. The same passion that Steve and Christopher is talking about in terms of what it is we're facing, and we're putting our best foot forward to try and stem the crisis, right? Because we know it is a crisis and we recognize it as such. So speaking of vocational schools, there's one located just off island, which is an excellent one. And to present that one and talk a little bit about the programs that they offer over there, we're going to bring up Carmine. Come on up, Carmine. Come on up. Have a seat, sir. All right, so let's start with your first name and last name.
Carmen Santa Maria.
Say that again for those out there.
Carmen Santa
It
Maria.
rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? Love it. And you're representing which school, sir?
So I work at Nova Career Center, and it's the New Frontier School Board.
Okay. And what does NOVA stand for, and what is your role at the school?
So I teach electric vehicle mechanics. Nova, I don't know what it stands for, honestly. I don't know.
Okay. Somebody will
That's the
Google that
name.
and let us know. I'm just wondering, but I'm sure it's an acronym for something. Anybody out there happen to know what it stands for? Who's quick with their phones?
I think
There's
it
no
means
acronym?
new.
It's just the name?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. NOVA.
Yeah, like new.
Okay, fine. Oh, how long has it been there?
Okay, it's been there from a long time.
Okay.
Probably back in the 70s. I can't say an exact date. I've been there since 2021.
Okay. Okay. So tell us about the programs that are offered at NOVA.
Okay, at the Career Center, we have the automobile mechanics is the big one.
When you say big one, tell us how many students. Tell us, is there a waiting list? Tell us a little bit about that one.
Okay, so in automobile mechanics, we can have anywhere from 3 to 4 groups running at one time. And then electric vehicles, we're one group running at a time. At one point, we were 2. But then you also have hairdressing. You have aesthetics.
Let's get to that in a second. When you say groups, how many students are in these groups, approximately?
So last I heard, just a couple of days ago, one group, they have 29 students.
Okay.
Another one is 22. And in the electric vehicle mechanics, we're a bit smaller, but we can go up to like 15, 16. But usually we're like 12 about.
Okay. And what's the frequency in terms of turnover? Like graduation is what, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months? What's the length of the courses?
Okay, for automobile mechanics, regular mechanics, it's 1,800 hours, so it's almost 2 years. For the electric vehicles, it's a skilled trade certificate, so it's 645 hours, which we squeeze it in about 10 months.
Okay. And the other programs now that you mentioned that are offered.
Okay, so we have like, for example, there on the board it says accounting. In the career center, hairdressing, aesthetics, accounting, and high pressure welding, a big one. Even just regular welding, that's another big part of the school.
Explain, please. When you say big part of the school, what do you mean?
So like they take a big section of the school. You know, like we're almost half automobile mechanics and welding.
Okay.
You know, that's they're running about the same number of groups, same number of students. So that's pretty much our bread and butter, if you will. You know,
Understood, understood. Now, and you're located where exactly?
we're in Chateauguay in the valley. It's near Kanawagi. If you guys know that area, it's if you take the Mercier Bridge, you go over, you cross through Kanawagi, you're in Chateauguay.
Is there any conflict with other school boards in terms of where students come from? Like, look, Steve and I, we played hockey, and we know in the hockey world, if you live in NDG, you got to go to, you got to play hockey for NDG. If you live in the West Island, you got to play. Is it similar in the school system where if you live in Chateauguay, they expect you to go to school at Nova, or are you free to register anywhere?
No, not necessarily. We have people from the city, like Verdun, LaSalle, that they just cross the bridge, Pont Mercier, and they come to our school. So it's pretty much from anywhere. You can come. Like, there's no limit. There's no restrictions.
Okay. Let's talk about costs, right? Once again, just repeat for everyone that didn't hear. You teach
Electric vehicle mechanics, $200, and you get your high voltage gloves. It's practically free. For automobile mechanics, $500. And you're getting a 2-year course that anyone from outside would have paid like $30,000.
$200 for a career.
For a skilled trade certificate for electric vehicles, in the private, like for example, there's another school that I worked at, private, $2,500, and you're getting maybe 200 hours, even less,
Well,
and you're not getting the full experience. You know, so I really recommend the public school system. It's amazing.
wow.
Yeah.
What would be the starting salary for something like that? Before we get there, actually, do you guys assist your graduates with finding stages or jobs? Do you guys have
for automobile mechanics, there's the stage included in the program. So yes, we'll help them find. We have multiple partners. You know, we have the committee CTAM, and we talk to so many suppliers and partners in the field, and we find jobs. Just maybe 2 months ago, I found one of my students a job. He lost his job because they didn't need him anymore for the rush season, and he actually told me, I will consider working at McDonald's just for a bit to get by. I said, students, they know all the names. The administration knows the names of every student. I've never seen that in the city. You know,
I
And
know,
I
I
did
know
4
Chuck, but
schools.
who's the principal over there? If you
It's
don't mind. asking?
Collins, Thomas,
Thomas.
right now. Yeah.
Okay. So, again, Carmine, let me ask you this, because you seem very passionate. Where does that come from? And your passion is not only for the job, but it seems like you have a passion for the students as well. Where does that come from? Tell us a little bit about your background.
So the passion right now to help the students comes from what I would have liked to have when I was learning. So I kind of like do what I would have liked them to have done, you know? And they did. So I know how it is when you're in your early 20s or whatnot, and you don't know what you want to do. You want to have as much help as you can from people. But in terms of mechanics, I was always interested in cars. I always loved cars. I actually went to Rosemont first, right after high school, to do woodworking. And it was great. It's just, they told me to do furniture finishing first, you know, to get the whole thing. So I started, and we were mixing colors, and I said, okay, this is not for me, you know. I'm going to go to mechanics, what I really planned to do in the first place. The reason why I didn't is because people were telling me, you know, it's hard and it's greasy. So I said, okay, maybe let me try wood. I like wood, but I want to use tools. But I ended up doing what I really was meant for me. You know?
So let's take it all the way back then. Let's go back to when you discovered that it was really meant for you. What age was that, and what kind of support system did you have at the time?
Okay, first it started like I was 13 years old playing with a car that my dad was going to send to the salvage yard. So it was-
Where? What country were you in at that
Oh, I
time?
was born here.
You were born here.
Yeah, my parents come from Italy, and they always told me, they said, do whatever you want. You know, don't worry. You don't have to get that degree or go to university or just do whatever you want. It's going to work out. We trust that you're gonna find whatever you need to find, you know. And that was like probably the best advice that I got.
Did you have family that were in the trades at the time?
Not that we're like really involved. I do have like my mom's cousin was a mechanic, but we weren't really close enough for him to have a big impact. It was really my I just venture out. I just go and I just gotta find out things, and I would walk into places and just say, I really love the speed shop. I love the performance shop. Can I work here? He goes, you don't have experience. I said, I'll work for free. I just want to be here. And I ended up staying like 10 years, you know, part-time, jumping from other jobs, you know. I always did double time and overtime. And
So similar to Chris and Steve, you had the passion, you had the drive, you had the energy.
Yeah.
Did you have a mentor at the time? Someone that said, keep at it. And, you know, those days where you're discouraged and you didn't know, was there someone that motivated and pushed you?
Well, I mean, I think it was all in my mind. It was all in my head. But I think a big push was because I'm a man of faith. So I think God really helped me in the end. You know, I mean, that's what really. But it was just myself really going drive. My drive is.
God is the greatest, isn't he?
Yeah.
God is the greatest.
Thank God.
Thank God. So moving forward, 13 years old, you're older now. You're looking for your options. What school did you end up going to?
I went to Laurie McDonald Career Center, the automobile mechanics program that they had in St. Leonard. And go figure, 20 years later, I ended up working there with my old teachers for 3 years. You know, it was...
Name names. We want to know who these people are, so when I go back there, I could accost them personally.
Well,
Who are these people, Carbide, what we're talking about? St. Leonard to Laurier McDonald, right? And you studied what? At Laurier-
automobile mechanics.
And you were there for how long?
It was 1,800 hours at the time as well, like now. One of my teachers was Frank Di Tiro. Now he's retired. We did just a celebration on Tuesday at the CTEM Gala. Made a montage. There was Pierre Bocage. These guys are legends. You know, Pierre, when I used to ask him, I say, but I don't get it. Why is that wire on the diagram showing that, but I don't see it on the car? He brought me downstairs, left everybody. He goes, just you, okay, come. And then he drew it on the board. He goes, you get it now? I go, yes, thank you.
Did you go to like regular schooling, like in this, you know, general school, whatever, St. Leonard High, I don't know, whatever, before vocational?
Well, I finished my high school.
Which, right, so
I finished high school and then I went to trade school right away. I didn't bother with CJEP or university. I knew it wasn't for me. I actually went to one of my friend's classes. Both. One was Vanny and one was Dawson, just to see. And I pretended I was one of the students. I walked in the class and I stayed in the class. And the teacher asked me, you're not supposed to be here. I said, I really want to see what it's about. And my friend comes here. She said, okay, no problem. When I was done, I said, okay, this is not for me.
Do you hear that, folks? You hear that? That's what it really comes down to. Finding what is for you. He had to go to his friend's school, sit in the class to realize, nah, this is not going to be for me.
No.
How do we get the information out to families, young people that are struggling in school, that are asking themselves, what am I going to do with my life? What's next for me? Parents don't know. Maybe they're new to the country, new immigrants. They don't know what's out there. You said what now, Steve? Hold on. Give me a second. Let me get over here. You don't have a mic. Go ahead.
I think it should be in high school. Their guidance counselors should be able to advise them, their parents.
I'm going to ask you all to raise your hand like it's in school.
I said sometimes the guidance counselor does not have your best interests.
Okay. Definitely two possibilities there. Karma, what do you suggest?
I suggest now we get the message out there that trade programs are not just like manual labor. Now the technology got so good. For example, a mechanic now has to be a plumber. He's got to be an electrician. He's got to be a computer specialist. To teach what I'm teaching, I had to teach myself how computers work, not just how to find the wire to the wire, you know what I mean? Also, how these things work. What are the new tools? You know, a big one now is AI. It's helping diagnostic times. You gotta be in par with like engineering skills practically.
I'm going to stop you just for a second. AI, it's very interesting because we did a presentation on AI at Saint Laurent Academy, and we were trying to get that message out there. So, since you mentioned it, tell us a little bit about how AI is changing the industry, electromechanics.
Okay, in my opinion, the whole thing about people being worried about taking our jobs, I think it's going to be the opposite. Okay, so the work, the amount of work that's been performed, now will just multiply 10x or more. Or I'm just giving an example, because now by using AI we could get more done, and we're probably working less harder. So instead of having that one employee do this amount of work that day, they can do much more and not necessarily work harder. You know, more production will come out of this. That's what I believe.
Is it being used currently at Novo AI technology?
So I have been using, like, for example, my cellular telephone. Okay, we have technical information, and when we don't find the information there, I'll use AI and find something that I'm looking for. And something that would have took us maybe an hour to do will now take us maybe 15 minutes because it guides you quicker. So I see more production coming out of this, more of a help, an assistance, rather than like a threat. You know?
How about at the other school boards? Let's ask about what's going on over at your school board in terms of AI and how it works for you.
Carmen said it amazingly.
First of all, name and who do you represent?
Danny Midlash, Rosemount Technology Center. Carmen said it beautifully. It's a tool, and it's a tool that can speed up time, speed up productivity, and still teaches. So it's an amazing tool.
And what's going on with AI over at FAC?
Again, so I echo the same things that everyone just said, but it's a useful tool, especially pedagogically. It can be super useful for generating different ways of teaching and explaining information to students. You can literally put in a diagram of a plumbing system, and it can generate a whole lesson plan for it. So it is an excellent tool.
Anything to add, Nadia?
No, Danny said perfectly.
Do you use AI in everyday life, Nadia?
I do.
How do you use AI, Nadia?
Well, I actually I asked who would win a Stanley Cup on ChatGPT the other day.
And?
They said Vegas. Oh, no. Yeah, yeah. So.
Okay, guys, you and your son. Okay, let's stay on task, guys. Let's not get into the politics of hockey. We don't want to get off. Plumbing. How is AI impacting plumbing, Christopher?
We use it, I wouldn't say to diagnose, but to find solutions, I guess, where we have problems, and we do have some technical problems at times.
And Mr. Patabrianos, how is AI affecting the electrical job market and work?
I think it could only be used as a positive. I mean, for the same things that the other people said, it provides you options, definitely, to say the least, options, and it's only good.
Sorry about that, Carmine. I know they're taking up your start time. Listen, let's get back to you being at your friend's school, and you realized that it wasn't for you. What was the next step after that?
After that was automobile mechanics, Laurier McDonald Career Center in Montreal, in St. Leonard. And from there, I just went from one job after another. But not because I was fired, but because I left to get something better and better and better and better. I never thought about the money. Money was never, like the price was never, no, it was what I was interested in. Like I would be doing installations, electronic accessories. and I would just max it out. This is the most I can learn about that. Then I'll get interested in something else, and go there. You know, there was performance, and then I got a good shot at the city. So I was like, well, you know, with the benefits and the vacations and everything. So I stayed 10 years. I learned a lot, and then they called me to come and teach. And
Who called you? Tell us about that journey, because you're employed, you're making money. Now all of a sudden you want to change your life, turn it upside down practically, to teach. This passion also must come from somewhere.
You know, I actually had an impediment. I had a speech impediment when I was a kid. I was stuttering. I couldn't say some words, and I was afraid to be in front of people.
Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear
Yeah.
that? Tell them again. You had some chatterboxes back there not paying attention.
I
Tell
had,
them
I
what
had
you
a
just
speech
said.
impediment. I was stutter, and some words couldn't come out when I was really young, and I never thought I would end up teaching. But I think I got so into the...
Tell them what you said to me before. He goes to me, listen, I don't talk. I don't talk. I go, Karma, what do you mean you don't talk? He goes, I don't talk.
No, I said I'm
like,
going to
"No, you're
wing
gonna
it
talk
because I
today."
didn't plan this, so I'm going to wing it. You know?
Isn't he doing great, folks?
Thank you.
Okay. Continue. You had a speech impediment, and
So yeah, I got over that. You know, I had a speech therapist, and then as I grow up, you know, you get more confident, and then that goes away. Okay, but in terms of the technical part of the whole industry of repairing of vehicles and machines, I got so into it that I learned a lot about it. That when they called me, I was confident enough to go in front of people that have like 20, 30 years experience. There's people that are older than me, you know, in the trade. So I think I was well into the sauce there to be able to answer any questions, you know, but it wasn't even enough. When I started teaching, I realized I still have a lot to learn, a lot. So it's also on us, you know, we gotta keep updated, you know, like learn the new technologies, obviously, and then put it out there, you know, like as if you would like to hear it. A lot of times I would have somebody explain me something, and like I remember, and I didn't understand it as much as when I did the research, and then when I went to work, and then a colleague would help me and put two together, and I would understand it. But then I realized this way of understanding what I'm trying to understand, I can present it and make it easy to understand. So I kind of got good at that, you know, and I have students come to me from other classes when we do remedial, and they're like, just that 1 hour I did with you, and it like, my mind, like now I can do that, you know, and I'm more confident on that, and that explained a lot, you know, and thank you, you know, so.
is that one of the things that keeps you teaching? The
Oh, yeah.
reward from
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
kids that graduate, and
Yeah.
tell us a couple of success stories. I'm sure some of them even come back and see you years later.
Oh yeah, I got guys working at Tesla now, you know, and because of all the benefits with like when you're working with them, you can also they put in money for shares, and they're making loads of money. They're happy what they're doing. You know, they love the field, they love the technology. I mean, it just doesn't stop there. You can venture out into aviation because everything's going electric, you know. But in terms of teaching, yeah, a lot of students, they come back and see us, and they're very happy. A lot of students came back and thank us. You know, like I said, just one student, I got him that job. He's so happy now. His girlfriend's like, we're gonna get married and buy a house, and you know, so he's really happy, you know. And
Is it fair to say that you left money on the table to teach? Because with your knowledge and years of experience, you could have been an executive at Tesla if you chose to, but you're teaching. So that passion, where does that come from? Is it because you yourself can recall what it was like to be a student, and you just needed that one person that cared? Where does that passion come from?
well, I didn't actually search for it. They came and get me, okay?
Okay,
And the
tell us
first
about that.
time, I said no because it was part time, and I just got a mortgage, and I needed full time, so I said I can now. But then I think it was 2 years later, it was a good time, and I said I could do both because they had the mornings, and then I went to my regular job after. So I was shuffling two at the same time, and then I left one to continue down because I said this is really good. I actually left a permanent job of 10 years that I could have retired at 55 years old. It was like set, and it was practically impossible to get fired. You're unionized like crazy at the city, and I left that. I left that all on the table, and I actually left a prime de départ. It's like every year of service you have, you get like $2,500. I left like 100 grand just there. I lost it because I left, because that was really something so much better. Can you imagine just ripping out suspension all day and like getting tired when you go home, you're tired, and then going to something that you do 4 or 5 hours and then that's it, and it's not even all year round. It's a beautiful thing. And
Do you hear that, Christopher?
My hands are clean. Look,
Do you hear that, Steve? 4 or 5 hours. I know you guys want to wander off into the twilight. Listen to Carman over here. 4 or 5 hours, still make an impact to those who need it. Just think about it, guys. That's all I'm saying.
If you count the whole amount, like 1,280 hours, that's the whole contract, okay? With the presence time, you do all of that, right? It still amounts to almost 800 hours less than someone working 9 to 5 doing that like repairing, let's say, for example, right? That's 800 hours of your life that you're getting for more money, like as if you're doing a lot of overtime. So to get the same amount of money, you got to do like 3,000 hours in the field. You're doing that in 1,280, and you're working less. It depends how you see it. Some people see it as more of you're working hard because you're using your mind and you're stressing with students. But if you love what you do and you just do it naturally, you're working less.
Amazing. So, look, I know you're not an administrator, but let's talk about some administrative stuff before I let you go. The pathway to registration at Nova, what's that like? So I'm a new student, I want to register. What do I do?
nfsb.me. And then you have all the programs there. And it has the start dates, it has the amounts, pretty much everything you need is there. So nfsb.me. And then if you have to call or come and see us, no problem.
Okay. You spoke a little bit about remedial stuff, because I know there's some students that might come there and struggle. What's that process like? You have a student, he's struggling. What do you do to help the student?
We have meetings, PLC meetings, then we focus on students that need help. We really look into them. We take time. We offer 1.5 hours every day after school for anybody to come. We have a teacher every single day, and we could do individualized teaching. And we didn't always do that, but when we started doing that, phenomenal results. They really feel like we care. We're there for them.
Phenomenal. So, what are your future plans? You still look relatively young. Are you going to continue at Nova? What's the future look like for you?
Hopefully, yeah, I want to stay at Nova. I mean, they're great. They're amazing. They're flexible. They help with even your personal life. They know, okay, you need that, those days. They're amazing. I can ask them, I was just having a conversation with Danny before. He's the VP of the school, and he does the same thing. They come and see him, and they say, listen, these dates, okay, let's change it and then see how it works. It's beautiful. They help, But the future, one experienced teacher, that was my teacher, that I also worked with, he told me after a certain amount of years, it becomes repetitive. So you might want to start doing other things in the administration, So start with the committees and all these things. I don't know if that's going to be my case. I can't say. But right now, if things can just stay like this, I'm going to be the happiest person in the world, until the kids get old enough, and then, I'll have more time, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't say. But I don't plan to go in the private sector. I am not letting this go. I don't want to go back to 3,000 hours a year, I'd rather give that time to my family,
Have you thought at all about how Bill 101 might affect you and your situation and Nova?
Yeah, I thought I was supposed to be worried about that, and I asked someone that he's pretty much like well informed of what's going on, and he said from what he knows, from what he heard, the worst case scenario, we might have to do a few modules in French, so a fraction of the whole course. you know, so they're not just gonna cancel everything. Yeah, I already taught in French, you know, I don't mind. So if I have a 12 module course and I gotta do 2 in French, I'll do it, you know. The automobile mechanics is 29, so they might have to do a bigger amount, but it's proportional to the course. I think I see that's where it's going, but I don't know. I'm not in the politics of all of that, so.
Okay. So, any last encouraging words to a student that wants to get into the trades, or a student that's currently in the trades that's looking for that to be his future? Any parting words for someone like that?
Don't be afraid of getting your hands dirty, because after the beginning, like let's say, I don't know, 5-10 years, the hard part's done. That opens windows. You can teach. You can be a supervisor. You can open your own company. Have the other ones, the young guys, do the dirty work. But you'll have enough experience, and then, you know, money. You know, it's a big deal. Look at in the U.S. Okay, take example AI data centers. Okay, plumbers now in the U.S., electricians, to support these AI data centers, they're getting paid over $100,000 a year U.S. Okay, they're not doing overtime for that. This is like base. So the trades are amazing, especially now. The tools, like we said before, battery operated, they're easier to use. The opportunities, it's not like it used to be, okay? It's much, much better now. So it's not, don't think dirty jobs, you know, it's, now you pretty much have to be an engineer if you want to do a trade, because it's all computers, you know, the tools are all sophisticated, the diagnostic tools are amazing now. So it can open up doors, and it doesn't have to be always hard, heavy work, you know?
Fantastic. So this was Carmine, everyone, but you're going to say your name one more time for everyone. One more time, Carmine.
Carmine Santa Maria. Carmen Santa Maria.
There you go, folks. Carmine. Plumber wants to say something, folks.
I just want to say something to what Carmine says. It's just to prove. As a young man, my father always say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Okay, looks like the food has arrived. So for all of you who are famished, we're just going to keep it rolling so we can all eat. So, who should we have next up? Eeny, meeny, miny. I'm going to make it short and sweet. I'm going to make, no. We're going to make it short and sweet. We're going to have Nadia and her sidekick, Rosemount Technology, everyone. Come on up, both of you, come on up here. Come on.
This side, so you can see my.
Come on, both of you up here.
Should we put that in the middle for both of us? Yeah. We're good? Yeah, all right.
All right, so let's start with introductions.
Nadia Zucaro. I'm the academic advisor at Rosemount Technology Center.
And you, sir?
Danny Midlash, Vice Principal, Rosemount Technology Center.
We have a vice principal. We're going to ask some tough questions.
Not that kind of vice principal.
Okay, so Nadia, what's the environment like over there? What do you have, like 5 campuses? Like, I keep hearing about Rosemount, and I go to one place, and they're like, no, go over there. And I go to another, but go over there. Like, what's going on over there?
So we have 4 different campuses for different programs, because certain machines don't fit in one campus, has to fit in the other one, or that kind of thing. So we're a big school. We have 8 programs.
And please, vice principal.
Yes.
Does this mean you're the vice principal of all the campuses, or are you just focused on one? How does that work, and how do you manage everything?
So we're 3 administrators, principal, 2 vice principals, and myself and my colleague, we're separated over different programs.
Please.
So I oversee 3 of the programs. My colleague oversees the rest, and the principal oversees everything.
Everything. Okay, so now please expand on what these programs are, because we're hearing programs. We need to know what the programs are.
So we offer 8 programs at our center: electromechanics, printing, industrial drafting, computer graphics, machining, cabinet making, carpentry, furniture finishing.
And let's talk about
I
enrollment.
got them all.
Yeah, I know.
I was
there's a lot.
counting- I
I
was
told
counting
you,
on
you're
my
going to get the
finger.
tough ones, right?
Yeah, I-
So let's talk about enrollment.
Yes.
Right? 8 programs across how many whatnot centers?
4 centers.
What's the enrollment like?
It really depends on the program. So
Okay.
we have some programs that do extremely well, strong enrollment, like electromechanics, cabinet making. Those are 2 of our bigger programs.
Let me just cut you right there
Yeah.
because I think Carmine is doing electromechanics.
No, so electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles.
Yes.
What's the difference for a layman like me? Electromechanics, what's the difference?
The best way I like to explain electromechanics is if you've ever seen the show How Do They Do That, and How's It Made? Thank you. And they'll take you into like let's say a food processing plant. Well, all those conveyors, all the machinery, they're all programmed. That's an electromechanic that will program them. When they break down, that's an electromech that will fix them. When the motors seize, that's an electromechanic that will go in there and fix it. So there really is a trade that covers many trades.
Okay. Sounds complicated. I'll just say that for a layman like myself who just
The
pushes I just push a pen. Listen, I don't.
The math
Prerequisites.
the math in it is crazy, but,
Okay,
but it's an amazing course.
Are there any prerequisites to get in there?
Nadia?
Pathways. That's Emma's word, by the way. I've been using it
Want me to
often.
stick this back mic instead? Oh, we could share it. It's fine. It's okay. It depends. Okay, so every program, it's basically you need either a high school diploma, secondary for English, math, and French, or we have something called the GDT exam, which sometimes there's prerequisites to do. And there's also another way, if you come from another country and you have a high school diploma, we can do an equivalence in-house.
What about age requirement? Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm 15 years old. I'm in
Too young.
grade 9.
You're too young. 16.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm 15 years old. Grade.
Well, the law in Quebec is that you have to be in school till you're 16. So 15, you have to be in high school. So,
Okay, this
so
is
you're
good.
not 15.
This is good.
So
Okay.
say 17.
Okay, so I'm 15 years old. And I'm struggling with my classes.
Yes.
I'm about to get thrown out of school.
Okay. you
Right?
won't.
My parents are having a fit. They don't know what to do with me.
Yeah.
Right? Now you're telling me it's 16.
Yeah.
What does the parent do with this child knowing that the child has to be 16 but he only has a grade 9? What can the parent do? Pathways.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the high schools, but there are schools that will help students like that, high school students. Because you still can't, the law in Quebec is that you have to be in school till you're 16.
So,
So they'll find another program for you.
okay, good. So let's get there now. So now I'm 16.
Yeah.
Right.
Like 16.
I don't have my grade 10.
Okay.
So what do I do now? Now I'm 16. I'm getting older now, Nadia.
Yeah.
Now what?
Now you go to an adult center
Okay.
and you do your well, they'll give you a placement test and you could do, or wherever you've landed, and they can give you, like, you could do your Sec 4 English, Math, and French.
So you need the core subjects.
You need Sec 4 English, Math, and
Do you
French.
need any science?
No,
Just the English, math, and the French.
Sec 4, yeah.
Okay. Do you need your entire Sec 4? Because now I think it's changed to even pass the level. You need all the subjects, I think, now. Or is it?
Not for VOCAD, no.
Okay, so just English, math,
And
French.
Yeah.
16 years old.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else?
Well, now tell me you're 18.
Okay, I'm 2 years now.
Okay, now you're 18.
Now I'm out of school for 2 years. I'm sitting in my parents' basement. They're yelling at me every day.
Yeah, you're playing
Like,
video games. The parents call
hold
me.
on, hold on, hold
you know?
on. Let's
Yeah,
hear,
yeah.
let's hear vice versa.
Sorry.
It's a lot of new students. We want to know the student population.
Well, it is, right? I mean, there are students that, are in that 17 or 16 to 18 that are at home and don't have that path set for them yet. So
Yeah.
in comes the Vox Center. be it us or be it the other centers that offer different programs.
So like you were saying now, I'm 18.
Now you're 18.
Yes, parents' basement, yelled at every day. Now what?
Okay, so you have no Sec 4, right?
Right.
Okay. We have something called a general development test that you can do to get into the programs.
What is this test,
So
please?
it's,
And what does it entail? What
It's-
subjects does it
it's
cover?
General knowledge, no French in this exam, if you're coming to the English, obviously. There's no French. It's 100 multiple choice questions. And I think the pass is like 43.
Okay, interesting what you just brought up. No French, right? We touched a little bit on this Bill 101. Now's the time to tackle it. Now's the time to tackle it, and the vice principal is going to get the tough question.
Oh, no.
So, please,
I hope I paid attention.
18. I'm the son of immigrants that didn't go to school here in English, right? So, do I fall in or out? Like, what do I do?
The
Bill
best-
101, 2 years from now,
Nadia
we're
is the best
screwed.
one for that. No. No.
What's going to happen to me now?
Well, right now you're fine. So
Okay.
so right now, with Bill 101, and we have opened up this door, right? So with Bill 101, it never came into VOC and adult centers before, which gave the opportunity for your case in point, right? Now, once this comes if it comes into effect, then your question becomes very relevant, right? It becomes, what does that person do now? They're going to go into they're going to go into a system that's saturated already, that isn't ready for this kind of influx. So during that time frame, that individual is at home, almost being forgotten. And how sad is it that we're opening up a door to forget people? It's not why I came into it. It's not why anybody comes into education. We don't come in to forget people. We come to help people. And just if I may take this one step further, like your two guests before you, I was a tradesperson before I came into education. I spent 17 years in a trade. I chose to come into education.
Which trade was it, if you don't mind me asking?
I was a high-pressure welder.
Okay. What was your background in terms of where did you study and what motivated you to get into that? Just so we know.
So I mean, very quickly, because I think this Bill 101 question is super important. I did well in high school. I had doors open to me. I came a little bit late to the game in prep work for CEGEP. Came to that crucial point, and you asked this question earlier, right? It was my guidance counselor in high school that called me into his office and said, listen, Annie, you're kind of late to apply to Vanier. Why don't you go to Rosemount Technology Center and sign up in cabinet making? You're good with your hands. And I looked at him and I said, okay. And I went. I signed up. Well, I went in for the student for the day. I came back. A family member at the time said, listen, let's go check out this welding thing because I hear they make a lot of money. I said, all right, let's go. We went. The teacher at that time was so dynamic in his presentation. He hooked me. And 17 years later, I decided it was my turn to give back. I applied to the EMSB. I'm very thankful they hired me. 13 years in a classroom teaching welding. And then I made this step into admin. So I was very lucky. I wasn't a forgotten person. But now with this new law coming into effect, and I don't want to go very political because I think this is a very important forum that we're at right now. We're opening the door to forget people, and it's not why I came into this business. It's I came in to help. Like you had asked this question. I know Carmine had mentioned this earlier, right? Money is left on the table when you're a tradesperson coming into education. It's a harsh reality, but it's our reality. It's choices that we make. But I was given that choice because I was an adult and I chose the language of instruction that I wanted as an adult. I'm fortunate, I guess. I do have a English eligibility certificate which transferred over to my children and my grandchildren. Will get it from their parents. But what about the ones that don't have it? And we got to remember them, right?
So what is the student population made up of at Rosemount? Would you say it's 60, 70% immigrants, allophone, or just English speaking? The reason I'm asking is because
Yeah,
we really want to know how it's going to impact Rosemount technology, right?
It's going to impact us, I think, the same way it impacts all Vox centers in the English network. So we're 9 school boards in the English sector. I think, and again, I can only speak for us, we do have a very high population, a very high immigrant population, which is awesome. Talk about diversity, talk about learning culture, talk about learning about parts of the world I will never travel to, but feel like I've traveled to. It's so enriching to me.
It's like being a part of the Multicultural and Diversity Project.
Well,
Nice segue. I had to get that one in there. Go ahead, Daddy.
I'm happy I could set it up for you. But it really is, right? I mean, we're at a point where never in my lifetime I thought we would be. I mean, I'm born and raised in this province. I'm a very, very, very proud Quebec. I'm a very proud Montrealer. I've lived through language struggles in this province. I am bilingual, so I'm very fortunate. I've taught in French. I've worked in French. I obviously teach and work in English. But I shouldn't be the only one that's the lucky one, and I shouldn't be considered lucky, right? This is education. Education is a freedom for all, and I think it should be a freedom for all, and we should never close this door, and we're closing the door to all of us, many of us, the administrators, we'll sit around and we'll say, well, okay, what's gonna happen? Well, there's gonna be a lot of people going home, and that's scary. There's gonna be a lot of people left in limbo, and that's sad. I've been saying this a lot since this Bill 101 has come up, but I think it's a great place to say it. I have a trade in my pocket that nobody could ever take away from me. And I'm very fortunate I get to go work, but I was given that opportunity that now it looks like it's gonna be closed, and I think that's very sad.
Okay, Nadia, we're talking about 18 registrations. Okay, I'm 18 now and I'm registered. I want to go to Rosemount Tech. I walk through the doors. What's the pathway to registration? How does it work now?
Well, it's pretty simple. You go to on our website, you click apply now, you choose the program you want, and you just put in the information. And when it's time to register, we call you up to come register. So it's fairly simple.
Any other programs that are more difficult to get into than others? I know some programs have a backlog while others might be more easy.
In our center, it's the only one that would have the only few would have a waiting list is electromechanics and carpentry. The others, we open a group every 2 months. So we have a lot of space. So at least that way we don't have a high waiting list. So, but the waiting list might be 50 people. So if you don't get into, let's say, the August one, you get into the October one. So it's not really like plumbing and electricity could be years.
What about recruitment? What do you guys do to get the word out?
We do a lot of job fairs, a lot. We go to high schools where we're invited, obviously. We do like little mini fairs. We have a lot of tours in our school. So a lot of high schools will come to our school to do tours, to talk to the teachers, to know about all the programs. So Rosemount's really good at putting themselves out there.
Do you have Student for a Day?
We have Student for a
Talk
Day.
about that so people that can come visit and see what that's like.
So I work with another advisor, and we split the programs such as the VPs do. And so example, you want to see electromechanics, you send me an email or you call us up. Any day you come, I put you in a classroom. You could talk to the teacher, you could talk to the students, you could talk to me.
So you're saying anyone that knows someone that might be interested in trades can just send an email to Nadia. I want to come visit for a day.
Yeah, no problem.
Simple as that.
Absolutely, no problem. It's very simple. Where we have a lot of classes going on, so it's very easy to put someone in anytime. It's not really. I know people seem to be scared of trying to contact the schools and all that, but it's actually very simple.
What about cost? People are like, oh,
Yeah.
this might be too much for me.
Well, we have our school for a year and a half program. It costs $270. So, and for 1 year program, it's $180 for the whole program.
That's from start to finish. Equipment. You need a pair of safety glasses, whatever.
Yeah.
Depending on the program, so on two of our programs
Require a uniform.
require.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so two of our programs have, there's some tools that need to be purchased. Another two of our programs have uniforms that need to be purchased. So, in those programs, you're talking end of the day, I'll round up a little bit, it'll be under $500. That's for 1,800 hours. It's a year and a half study. You get a DVS at the end of it.
What program would you say is in most in demand? I graduate, I'm going to get a job right away. Which one is that?
Carpentry is obviously because they need carpenters. That's really.
Do you
but
guys get poached?
We do. I do.
Talk about that a little bit. What does that mean?
Electromechanics is probably the biggest one right now. Machining is huge too. Electromechanics, carpentry, even cabinet making is pretty. So most of our programs, though, all like you'll get a job, but guaranteed, like you'll come out. Those would be the ones.
They come to get them even before they graduate, don't they?
They try. Because they're desperate now. And
What's the challenge with that, though? They show up, and all of a sudden they want to recruit your students.
They want, right now they've been trying to get them for a stage. So they, before used to be, let's say, a little more difficult to find a stage, and now they'll come find you. So they do that, and it's a non-paid stage, but they get a job right after stage too. It's really, it's really good. Yeah. Something you want to add? Stage is 1 month. It depends the program. It could be 3 weeks. Yeah.
So depending on the program, so stage is it's either 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So it's either 90 or 120 hours. Job placement is usually extremely high. We have a very high success rate or job placement rate. And just to go back on the poaching, we don't see it as much anymore. Or at least I haven't seen it much anymore. One of the struggles you'd ask, like, what a struggle would be, is speaking to the student and saying, yeah, that money is great right now, but the DVS, that's a lifetime. The money, yeah, that's gonna pay your bills, which is so important. It's why we all do it, right? But it's so important. But having that DVS in your pocket, that's a lifetime. That's money all the time. And look, over the years, I've had students that have said, well, I need the money now, see you later. And hey, you got to do you. I mean, you got to do what's right for you at that moment. And I've had other students say, okay, I get what you're saying. They'll say no to the job, and they'll find other job at the end of it. So, but I haven't seen poaching in a while.
I have another question, because I did a vocational school tour. It's hard to keep track of who was doing what. Do you guys find that there's competition amongst the schools?
No.
Is it just like different programs at different schools?
That's all it is. We're a community. We're a community, and if I can quote something that somebody taught me, it takes a village to raise a person, and it's very true. So no, we all work really tight in the sector together. Competition-wise, there isn't two centers in our sector that have the same programs, and when it's even across school boards, we work really well together. We're always in communication with each other. AEVS, I think Carmen said it beautifully when he was up here. It's a family, right? Like our schools are families. We see that when we come into as teachers. When you come into administration, you see it more because the doors to the school board are open to you a little bit more. And it really is a big family, and I'm very confident to say that even going from school board to school board. End of the day, we're all here to help someone. That's the end of the. So if if I come across a student that I don't think really doesn't fit in, like isn't working with our programs, well, I'll call my colleague up at another center and say, hey, I got this student. Can they come by for a student for a day? They'll do the same. Like, yeah, it's a big family. We're there to help. It's really what we're here for.
Okay, you know, as we evolve, we're always looking to improve programs, schooling, whatever it is. So what do you think needs to change in vocational schools?
Needs to change.
Yeah, we're talking about
I don't know.
improvements. We're talking about
Like
improvements.
improvements?
Yeah, what can we improve to make
I don't
things
know.
better?
I find our school does pretty well, though. I mean, I
Of
always
course
say
you'll say that.
I have to say that, RTC, no offense to anybody, but is the best school in Montreal, and Quebec, with the best
She
advisors.
said it, not
okay?
you.
I say it all the time. That's why everyone knows it's the joke that I say all the time. But I think, I don't know. I don't think there should be changes. All the teachers are like changes. Like for me,
Improvements.
improvements. What? Money.
I'll take this over. I'll take it over this way. Yeah, you want to help us improve funding. Right. And it is. Like end of the day, every dollar that's cut is cut from someone. And whether it's cut from not being able to buy all the equipment that we need, not being able to buy all the books that we need, it's a very, very hard conversation to say, let's hold off on buying this because we don't know what the budget will look like.
Which government is funding your program?
Well, it is our current sitting government that holds the purse strings to our
Houston,
budget.
we have a problem. We have a problem.
But you know what? And again, if I may, yes, we have to say the sitting government. Of course, they hold the purse strings. Education as a whole always has trouble with funding. And unless you're really in it, unless you really live it, I don't know if we really feel its impact. And if I may just elaborate on that, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day because of Bill 101, of course. And the person said to me, okay, well, how's that going to affect you? I said, well, it's basic math in my mind. If we lose 80% of our population, well, they don't need 3 administrators at our center. I'm going home. Yeah. So it affects me, of course. And the person looked at me and they said, and it was a family member, and the person, and she looked at me, she goes, I never looked at it that way. And I said, but that's what these conversations are all about, right? They're about saying, when we hear the government saying, we're cutting back on the overall school budget, that affects us. That affects all of, it might not affect us directly, like me, but it does definitely affects decision making. It definitely affects how funds are being allocated. And end of the day, it's people. We're in the business to help people. And to help people, you need funds. And we need the government to give us the funds that they promise us.
But, in all seriousness, it trickles down to the student, too.
At the end of the day.
It trickles down to the student.
And at the end of the day, we wake up, and I'm going to say we because, I don't typically like to speak for others, but, we wake up in the morning to make sure that we help somebody by the end of the day. And I know for me personally, when I wake up in the morning and the aches and pains of all my years in the trade, so I can definitely understand the aches and the pains, I would just tell myself, well, who am I going to help today? And, some days you get to help someone, and some days, it's a little bit tougher because you just don't have the resources, or, you have to go back to the drawing board once or twice. But very true to what you just said, right? It's all about people. And that's really what education is, right? It gives us this forum and thank you for this forum. It's fantastic.
Well said. Famous last words, Nadia? Anything you want to add?
Okay, the certificate and the
Yes.
courses that, once they graduate, can they use these courses towards a college level or a university level?
That's you.
No, you can't. You can't use it that way. But and it also depends. Like if my example, I have 2 DEPs and an ASP, and I went to university after. But it has nothing to do with any of my fields. Well, the reason I had done that is because I have a hairdressing degree and I wanted to teach, but I was still wanting to get a university degree and all that. So once I started teaching, like part-time, I realized I don't like teaching. So I decided to become an academic advisor. But you can't take your diploma to do something like for teaching and, like you have a teachable subject, but to take it and to use it to go to university, it's not, because it's a diploma. It's a secondary diploma, right? But you could always go to college and university like as a mature student, so you don't have to use that.
Any other questions? Rosemount Technology, everyone. That's
Yes,
fantastic,
the
guys.
best school in Quebec.
This one over here, I don't want to talk. Let her talk. Yeah, he was great. All right, guys, that was wonderful. A lot of information there. Again, if you know anybody that wants to go to Rosemount Technology, student for a day, email Nadia. She's available. So moving right along, because it's getting that time, I always like to comment and say it's my feeding hour. So we're getting close to it. So we're going to keep it moving. And we're going to welcome someone that I met not too long. And when I met her, the energy right away just said, this person cares. You can just tell. She cared. First one to send me an email, she said, listen, whatever you want, come down, get my banner, get my giveaway stuff, and I'll be there 100%. Can we do? She gets it. So it was a pleasure for me to meet her. I don't know how she feels about me, but it was a pleasure for me to meet her. And she represents VAC. Emma, come on up here.